Every country has a story. It's a story often told through its people, its fights and its wins, but sometimes the most important stories are whispered by the land itself. They are carried on the wind that blows through old forests. They are seen in the dark, cool waters of many lakes. This is definitely true for Lithuania. Its name seems to come right from the ground, a sound that feels as old as the tall pine trees and as strong as the Baltic Sea hitting its shores. The name itself is a journey, an invitation to look deeper into the heart of a country that has gone through so much. It has a feeling of mystery, a quiet respect that fits perfectly in this part of Europe. When you travel through Lithuania, you can feel the weight of this history all around you. It's in the old pagan forts on hills that still watch over rolling lands. It's in the amber washed ashore, a golden tear from a time long, long ago. And it's in the name itself, Lithuania, Lietava. It doesn't sound like other European names. It has a softness, a musical quality, like the sound of water flowing over smooth stones. This name is more than just a label on a map. It is a piece of living history. It connects the people of Lithuania today to their ancestors, who made a life in these thick forests and along these winding rivers, long before the big stories of modern Europe were ever written. The real puzzle, the one that historians and language experts still think about, is where this beautiful name actually came from. There isn't one simple agreed-upon answer. It's not named after a famous king or a big battle. Instead, its beginnings are as unclear and deep as the swampy lands that cover the Lithuanian countryside. This uncertainty is part of its magic. It makes us imagine a time when names were not just given, but earned. A time when a place was defined by its most important features. The rain that fed the earth, the river that gave life, or the people who gathered on its banks. The search for the meaning of Lithuania is a search for the country's oldest identity. So, where do we start this search? The strongest clues lead us not to a big city or a monument, but to a small, simple river, a stream called the Lietava. It flows near Kernavė, one of the first capitals of Lithuania and a place full of amazing old discoveries. This idea suggests that a great nation, one that would one day stretch from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea, got its name from this humble waterway. It's a beautifully simple idea. That a nation could be born from the identity of a small river tells us a lot about how much Lithuanians connect with nature. It suggests a people who saw themselves not as people who took over the land, but as part of its continuous, flowing story. To understand the story of its name, you first need to find Lithuania on a map and in history books. It sits on the eastern edge of the Baltic Sea, next to Latvia, Belarus, Poland, and the Russian area of Kaliningrad. This is a land of gentle hills, thick forests, and over 3,000 lakes. It's a landscape that feels both cozy and huge. For hundreds of years, this geography has shaped what Lithuanians are like. The forests gave shelter and resources, a natural fort against invaders. The rivers were the roads for trade and talking, connecting towns and carrying their stories from one place to the next. The Baltic spirit is one of toughness, built in a region that has often been a meeting point for big empires. Lithuania's history shows this toughness. It was the last pagan nation in Europe to become Christian, holding on to its old beliefs and traditions for centuries. This strong independence shaped its early identity. While the rest of Europe was busy with wars and old-fashioned politics, Lithuania was quietly building its own special way of life, deeply connected to the natural world. Its people worshipped gods of thunder, forests and fire. They built their strongholds on hills and got their strength from the land. This deep-rooted identity is very important to understand why the origin of its name is so debated. It comes from a time before written records were common in this part of the world. The Baltic region has always been a place where cultures met and sometimes clashed. It has been squeezed between the big powers of Germany and Russia, its identity constantly in danger. Yet, Lithuania has always lasted. It has a long and proud history of being a country going back to the Middle Ages, when the Grand Duchy of Lithuania was one of the biggest and most powerful states in Europe. This history of both greatness and struggle is carved into the country's soul. It explains the strong pride Lithuanians have in their language, their culture, and their name. They have had to fight to keep them, which makes them even more special. This unique position, both geographically and historically, sets the stage for the mystery of its name. Lithuania is not a country born from the ruins of the Roman Empire, nor is it a result of Viking invasions. It grew naturally from the Baltic tribes who had lived in these lands for thousands of years. Its story is its own, and so its name must also have a story that is uniquely Baltic, uniquely Lithuanian. The clues are not found in Latin writings or German tales, but in the old musical sounds of the Lithuanian language itself, one of the oldest living languages in the world. It's like a language time capsule, holding secrets from a far-off past. So why is the origin of Lithuania such a long-lasting puzzle? The simple answer is that there aren't many early written records. The name shows up in history quite suddenly, without a clear explanation of what it means. Historians and language experts have had to become detectives, putting together clues from old maps, language patterns, and the land itself. It's a fascinating discussion because it touches on the very core of how groups of people first name themselves. Do they name themselves after their leaders, their gods, or the place they live? In Lithuania's case, the evidence points very strongly toward the land. But which part of the land exactly? One of the less common but still interesting ideas connects the name to the word Lietus, which means rain in today's Lithuanian. This land of rain idea is beautifully poetic. In a region where farming was the main way to survive, rain was the most important thing that gave life. It stood for growth, plenty, and the endless cycle of nature. To name your homeland after the very thing that fed it would have been a strong way to show thanks and reliance on the natural world. It paints a picture of people who lived in peace with their environment, who saw the rain not as a problem, but as a gift from the gods. Another idea, mostly not believed anymore but still interesting, suggested a connection to Latin or even Celtic words. Some early scholars tried to link Lietava to Lietus, the Latin word for shoreline, maybe talking about the Baltic coast. Others looked for connections in the names of Roman trumpets, a far-fetched link to warrior tribes. These ideas show a common mistake in looking into history, trying to make a unique story fit into a more familiar European story. But Lithuania's story is not Roman or German, it is Baltic. The most convincing answers are found closer to home, within the Lithuanian language and its old roots. This ongoing discussion is more than just a school exercise. It shows a deep national curiosity about who they are. By looking into where their country's name came from, Lithuanians are looking into where they themselves came from. Were they people of the river, people of the rain, a tribe of warriors? Each idea gives a slightly different view of the nation's soul. The fact that there is no single, clear answer allows all these possibilities to exist together. It makes the national story richer, adding layers of meaning and mystery. The name becomes like a mirror, showing the many sides of the Lithuanian spirit, its connection to nature, its toughness, and its old mysterious heart. Of all the theories, one has become the most popular and is now widely seen as the most likely explanation. This is the Lietava River theory. It is simple and strongly supported by geography and language evidence. The theory says that the name Lietuvă came from the name of a body of water, the Lietava. This small river, only about 11 kilometers long, flows in central Lithuania, not far from the town of Kernavė. And Kernavė is not just any town. It was the first known capital of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, a major political and cultural center in the 1200s. The closeness is too important to be a coincidence. The idea behind this theory is simple. It was common in ancient Europe for tribe names to come from river names. Rivers were essential for life, They gave water for drinking and farming, they were paths for trade and travel, and they often formed natural borders between different groups of people. A tribe living along a certain river would naturally become known as the people of that river. Over time, the name of the tribe would become the name of the land they lived in. So the people who lived along the Lietava river became the Lietuvii, and their land became Lietuva. But what does Lietava itself mean? Here, the path leads deeper into the ancient past, to the very old roots of the Lithuanian language. Language experts suggest that the name comes from a root word like lei or lei, which meant to pour or to flow. This makes perfect sense for a river. The name Lietava could simply have meant the flowing one or the stream. It's a name born from simply observing, a plain description of what a river does. This connection ties the nation's identity to the most basic action of nature, movement, flow, and the constant, gentle way water keeps going. This theory paints a strong picture of how a nation was built. It did not start with a big announcement or a king's order. It started with a small community identifying with their local environment. As this community grew in power and influence, spreading out from their homeland around Kurnav, they took their name with them. The name of a small local stream was slowly used for a much larger area, eventually covering the vast lands of the Grand Duchy. It's a story of humble beginnings, of an identity that grew naturally from the ground up, carried forward by the flow of both water and time. It feels real and deeply Lithuanian. Every name has a birth certificate, a moment when it is first written down for all time. For Lithuania, that moment came on March 9th, 1009. The name appeared in the Annals of Quedlinburg, a medieval history book written in a monastery in what is now Germany. The entry is short and sad. It tells the story of a missionary, Saint Bruno of Querfurt, who was killed at the border of Rus and Lithuania while trying to convert the pagan people living there. The Latin text calls the place Litua. This single serious mention is the first time the name of Lithuania enters the story of written European history. It marks the change of the name from a local spoken tradition to a recognized place on the continent. This first appearance is meaningful. It puts Lithuania on the map as a distinct and powerful pagan territory. Saint Bruno's fate shows that this was a land with its own strong identity, one that resisted outside influence. The people there were not just a few scattered, unknown tribes. They were the people of Lietuvia, a clear group with borders and a fierce will to protect their way of life. The name, therefore, enters history not as a quiet geographical label, but as the name of a people and a political group able to defend itself. It was a name that commanded a certain amount of respect, or at least caution. From this point on, the name starts to show up more often in different historical records, especially in Slavic writings where it is written as Lietava or Litva. These early mentions help track the slow rise of Lithuania as a strong political force in the region. The name was used to describe the lands ruled by a group of Lithuanian dukes who were starting to unite against outside threats from the Teutonic and Livonian orders, knights on a mission to conquer the last pagan lands of Europe. The name Lietuva became a rallying cry, a symbol of a shared identity and a common fight for survival against powerful enemies. This journey from an obscure entry in a German history book to the name of a rising power is a remarkable one. It shows how a name can gain strength and meaning over time. In 1009, Litva was just a place on the edge of the known Christian world. By the 1200s, it was the name of a united state under its first and only king, Mindaugas. The name was no longer just a whisper from a forgotten river. It was a name being spoken in the royal courts of Europe. It had become the official title of a new and ambitious player on the historical stage, ready to build its own empire. The name Lithuania did not stay only in the small area around the Lietava River for long. As the Lithuanian tribes came together under the leadership of strong dukes in the 1200s and 1300s, the name grew with them. The Grand Duchy of Lithuania was born, and it grew incredibly fast. Through a smart mix of talking things out, important marriages, and military strength, the Grand Duchy grew its land to become the biggest state in Europe. At its peak, in the 1400s, it stretched from the Baltic Sea in the north to the Black Sea in the south, covering all of modern-day Belarus, much of Ukraine, and parts of Poland and Russia. As the state's borders grew, so did the reach of its name. Lithuania was no longer the name of a single tribe or a small piece of land. It was the name of a vast empire with many different peoples and religions. The name became known for power, government, and a special way of organizing things politically. The rulers in Vilnius, the new capital, were known as the Grand Dukes of Lithuania. The laws they made were the Statutes of Lithuania. The name was put on coins, written into agreements, and carried by armies across Eastern Europe. The quiet sound of the Lietava River had become the loud roar of an empire. What's interesting is that even as the Grand Duchy became a huge and diverse state, the main identity stayed connected to the name Lietuvă. The ruling class, the language of the court, and the heart of the state remained Lithuanian. The name provided a central point for this huge political entity. For the Slavic peoples who lived within its borders, being part of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania offered a certain amount of stability and religious freedom that was rare at the time. The name Lithuania came to represent not just a group of people, but a political identity, being a citizen in a powerful and relatively well-governed state. This historical expansion gives the name a depth and importance that it might not otherwise have. It is a name that has been linked to both a humble spot in nature and a massive European empire. This two-sided nature is a key part of the Lithuanian identity. It speaks of the ability to grow from small beginnings to achieve great things, without ever forgetting where one came from. The legacy of the Grand Duchy is a huge source of national pride in Lithuania today. It is a reminder that their small nation once had a very big and important presence in the world, all under the banner of a name that started with a simple flowing river. Today, the name Lithuania is more than just an old historical fact. It is a powerful symbol of national identity and strength. For Lithuanians, their country's name carries the weight of their entire history. The pagan past, the grand glory of the Grand Duchy, the long centuries of struggle under Russian and Soviet rule, and the triumphant regaining of independence in 1990. The name has survived every attempt to wipe it off the map. This survival has given it a deep meaning. It stands for never giving up, for the unbreakable spirit of a people who have refused to be forgotten. It's a name that has been fought for and is therefore deeply cherished. This pride is clear everywhere in modern Lithuania. It's in the way Lithuanians celebrate their unique language, one of the oldest in Europe and a direct language link to the people who first spoke the name Lietuvă. It's in the songs they sing, the traditions they keep, and the stories they tell their children. When Lithuanians say their country's name, there is a feeling of ownership and love. It connects them to the deep green forests, the calm lakes, and the winding rivers that have fed their culture for thousands of years. The name is a constant reminder of their deep connection to the natural world, a connection that lasts even in today's modern global world. The mystery around where the name came from doesn't make this pride less, it makes it stronger. It adds a layer of poetry and romance to the national story. The idea that their great nation might be named after a small, humble river is a source of inspiration. It suggests that greatness can come from simple, natural, and real beginnings. It strengthens a national character that values what's real over what's flashy and depth over superficiality. What name would you choose for your country if you had the chance? By embracing the Lietava theory, Lithuanians are choosing a story of humility, nature, and natural growth. So, the next time you hear the name Lithuania, think of more than just a small country on the Baltic coast. Think of a name that has flowed through history like a river, sometimes quiet and steady, sometimes swelling into a powerful rush. Think of a name that shows the toughness of nature and the lasting spirit of a people. A name that started as a whisper in a forest and grew to become the identity of a proud and unbreakable nation. It's a powerful reminder that the biggest stories often have the smallest, most beautiful beginnings. What other nations have names with such curious and debated origins?